Hey, what's up everybody? Ben Pakulski coming at you from the Mi40 gym in downtown Tampa. Today's video is going to focus on have you earned the right to lift heavy and what you absolutely must be doing before you lift heavy. So there's a huge debate. You know, everybody says, well, Ben suggests you lift heavy, and that's absolutely not the truth. What I suggest is that you earn the right to lift heavy, and there's 6 things that you must check off your list that you're doing first before you've earned the right to lift heavy, and I'm going to name them off today. This is what I call the 6 essentials of exercise. So there's in no particular order, but these are the things that you absolutely must be doing before you've earned the right to increase your poundage, increase your loads. The first and most important thing, in my opinion, is the setup. How you set up for an exercise is going to determine exactly where the tension goes. So keeping in mind, your body doesn't want to build muscle. You want to build muscle. Your body's looking to make things easy. Your body's looking to create inertia, create momentum, and just complete repetitions. That's the furthest thing from what we want to do as people who want to develop muscle and build our physiques. So what we want to do is we want to set up and put our body in the most advantageous position to isolate one muscle, or in some cases 2 muscles, or usually 1 joint. So how do we do that? It's really, really important. There's a few key points that I suggest you think about when you're considering your setup. And the first one is going to be stand proud or sit proud. So anywhere you're sitting or standing, any exercise you're doing, posture is very, very important. So anytime you slouch, you're going to change the mechanics of your body. You're going to change your body's ability to contract muscles. So first and foremost, everybody stand up or sit proud. If you happen to be sitting at your table right now at your desk, sit really proud. And what does that look like? That feels like pushing your chair away with your butt. If you're standing, think about pushing the ground away. What happens? We've got a really, really long spine. And it's not extending. It's not leaning back. It's just trying to lengthen everything. So we're trying to elongate. And then what happens from there? We get our spine really long. All our muscles get into the proper anatomical position. So if I slouch, things start to change at my spine. My pelvis starts to change a little bit. So I want to think about stand really, really tall. And from there, it's lock it down. What does lock it down mean? I want to contract everything that's not intended to be moving. So stand proud, lock it down. So what does lock it down? Right now, if you can't see that I'm doing is I'm squeezing my glutes, I'm squeezing my abs, my quads are engaged. It's not a maximum contraction. It's just preventing extraneous movement, which allows me to isolate some body part. So in this case, if I'm going to do a 1-arm dumbbell row, I'm going to find my setup and I'm going to lock it down. So in this case, I want to do a setup like this. I'm going to try to find something to push into. So the idea of lock it down, whenever you can find an apparatus, something stable to push into, you're giving your body a greater opportunity to generate more force, more tension, more torque. So if I'm standing on a ball or if I'm standing on an unstable surface, my ability to generate force is very, very minimal. The more stable I can make my entire body, the more I can pinpoint that tension, with that load, and really isolate that muscle I'm trying to train. So if I'm doing a 1-arm dumbbell row, I'm trying to really shove into something this way. I'm trying to use my leg to shove into the ground, and then I want to use the dumbbell here to pull toward me. So I'm trying to use my foot to oppose this dumbbell. My foot is shoving through the floor, and the dumbbell is moving exactly vertically. So one thing I don't want to do then is I don't want to allow extraneous movement to enter the equation. So I'm going to push my foot through the ground. I'm going to contract my torso. I'm going to shove. So what else could I possibly move? I can't move this way. I can't move this way, and I can't rotate. So that means that my body's isolated. It's locked in stone. So I'm going to retract, and I'm going to pull. I'm going to pull and not allow any of this leaning back. Leaning back doesn't actually make your muscle any shorter. So what we want to focus on here is getting the muscle as long and as short as possible. By allowing extraneous movement to enter the equation, we eliminate that likelihood for getting a muscle fully lengthened and fully shortened. So always training a muscle through its full range of motion. So is that possible in one exercise in most cases? The answer is no. But it's very, very important in a workout that we train a muscle through its full range. So, you know, people will argue with me on this. Well, Ben, that guy doesn't use a full range of motion. Well, to be honest, they often do, but they do it by accident. Some people just build muscle really easily, and some people do really train through a full range by accident. Or if they don't train through a full range, they develop strength gradients where they become really, really strong in one part of the range and really, really weak in another. What could you imagine is going to happen if somebody develops a strength gradient? Injuries, right? So I'm going to be really strong in this part of the range, and all of a sudden I go here, pec tears. Oh, geez, surprising, right? Or you see those meatheads who walk around this way, and they can bench 500 pounds, but you ask them to reach back here and grab their seatbelt, and all of a sudden, oh, pec tears, or they throw their back out or something like that. That's why we don't want to develop strength gradients. That's why training through a full range of motion is important as well as being optimal for hypertrophy. It's also optimal for decreasing injuries. 3, massively important. I would argue one of the most important, if not the most important, for people who want to progress right now, and that's initiate with the working muscle. So what does that mean? You guys have heard me say this before. You gotta squeeze the muscle you're trying to work before you move. Why? Because if not, your body's gonna find a way to cheat. Your body's gonna find a way to develop inertia momentum to move that weight through space. We don't want that. We want only the muscle we're trying to work to do all the work, as many inches, as many centimeters as possible. I want that muscle I'm trying to train to be doing all that work. So what happens when we do a leg extension? What's the first thing that happens when you start pushing into a pad for leg extension? Your butt goes up in the air. Why? Your body's not wanting to contract from the lengthened position. Your body wants to contract in the mid-range. So as soon as we do that, we lift our butt up, and your body has to go through less of a range of motion to complete the rep. Convenient. Your body wants to cheat. It's the same with everything. A bicep curl. We start here. What's the first thing our body wants to do? Well, I want to use my biggest muscles to move it. I want to use my hips and my glutes to move it. Remember, when you're lifting weights, your body has a number of solutions, a number of opportunities to move this weight. And when I say solutions or opportunities, I'm referring to muscles. So your body always wants to use the biggest possible solution, the biggest possible muscle to move that load. And if you're asking your body to use a smaller muscle or one of your weaker muscles, guess what? It's way down the chain as far as what your body wants to use as far as being most efficient to contract muscles. So this is why setup is so important, which is essential number one, because if you're not setting up and allowing your body to isolate the muscle you're trying to work, your body's going to revert back and use those big muscles always. And that's why your strengths will get bigger and your weaknesses will stay weak. And this is something I ran into in my career and sometimes still do, to be honest. And that's why I need smart people around me to always check it and check and check, because every time you try to use heavier weights, remember your body's always going to revert back to using the strengths, using the strengths, because it's keeping yourself safe. Train the muscle at the extremes of the range. So this is where most people suck. This is where most people are weak. And that's why most people don't ever develop muscle, and most people never make progress. They stay in the mid-range where they're comfortable, where it's easy, and they never get strong at those extremes of the range. I highly suggest you spend some time at the extremes of the range. And that doesn't necessarily mean just taking a muscle to extreme in the range. It means taking it there where there's maximum tension or maximum load. And these are things we get into in more detail in subsequent videos. So definitely continue to check out our YouTube page or check out the Mi40 Nation website. Next, maintain continuous tension. So maintain continuous tension. What does that mean? We all do bench presses, we all do deadlifts, we all do squats. There's a portion of every repetition or most exercises where there's no more tension. So what is a bench press? Or let's use, for visual purposes, let's use a shoulder press. So if I'm up here doing a shoulder press and I stack my joints, where's the tension? Straight down through the joints. So there's no more tension there. As much as I'm still holding a weight, there's no more tension on my muscles because my joints are stacked. How about if I were to do this? And I move just an inch outside of my shoulder. Now the joints aren't stacked. All this musculature has to work to maintain my shoulder in that position. Or if I'm doing a deadlift, if I come all the way to the top of the deadlift and my shoulders, my hips, and my ankles are stacked, there's no more tension there. Or most people finish a deadlift this way. There's no tension there on your muscles. Whereas if I just finished 1 inch outside of full extension or stacking my joints, now all of a sudden there's a tremendous amount of tension on those muscles I'm trying to work. And same with squats. Come all the way to the top. What does everyone do in a squat? They squat down, they come up and they go, because it's easy. They can rest at the top, they can relax. We don't want our body to relax. We want to take those exercises to the point where it's, or we want to use every exercise and make it hard for ourselves, not easy. We never want to make things easy for ourselves. Just don't rest. Don't stop where it's easy. Sometimes in our workout programs on the Mi40 Nation site, we prescribe tempos that have you stop at some point in the rep, but it'll always be at the point of the rep where it's hardest, where you actually still have to do a tremendous amount of work. Whereas you guys naturally are trying to stop where it's easy. We get to the top of a bench press, we go, or we get to the top of a squat and we go, because it's easy there, right? So we're relaxing. We never want to stop and relax where there's no more tension. Continue to keep tension on the muscle without allowing it to relax. Because as we say, most people will get to the top with the bottom of a bicep curl and rest for a second, or they'll get to the part of any exercise where it's easy. You know, maybe they're doing a one-arm dumbbell row and they'll let it stretch down here and they're just hanging out. Whatever it happens to be, you never want to stop where it's easy. So those are the 6 things that you need to be considerate of before you even think about moving up in weight. Remember, using heavy weights is something you earn. It's not, well, I need to use that much weight because I saw somebody else using it, or I think it's going to work my muscles more. If you're not working the exact muscle you want to work, trust me, your body's finding a way to use all the other muscles around it to move that load. So if your goal is hypertrophy and your goal is physique enhancement, go back through this video, pay attention to the 6 essentials, and we have tons of videos and tons of information for you guys. And if I went through it too quickly, 1, watch it again, but 2, I'm going to put a link in this below this video that takes you to a PDF with all the highlighted points that I've just gone through. So keep it really, really easy for you. These are the types of things we go through in detail at our camps. We go through in detail on all the videos on the Mi40 Nation site. So thank you very much, guys. Hopefully you got a little tidbit from this that makes your training, takes your training to a whole new level. Earn the right to go heavy. Ben Pakulski out.